right, Ruthless Church, what's going on? Today, I want to tell you about this experience that I had on my way back from China. And it's kind of interesting. It's one of those experiences, I don't know if you guys ever had it, but it's like grace, if you've ever been in that situation. It's hard to explain, but I'll tell you my experience of it. Like every once in a while, I'll just have this like sense come over me that like everything is lined up, that everything is perfect, and that all I have to do is just listen and go with the flow, and things will just, I don't know what to call it. I'm just going to say line up in ways that I can't imagine, in ways that I can't plan on my own. So this happened to me over a few days between leaving China and actually going to meet my family in Aruba. So here he goes. I'm coming out of the hotel in Beijing, right? And for the past couple of days, there's this lady outside selling like scarves and chopsticks and different things like that. And I'm like a person, I don't really buy stuff I don't really buy stuff, period. But I definitely don't buy things like just for novelty. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. It's just not what I do. So at any rate, what ended up happening is one particular day I said, okay, well, let me buy a scarf for my wife and I'm gonna buy some chopsticks and some other stuff. So I was going through and I was talking to the lady and I was, doing some bargaining and I was speaking to her in Mandarin. And so the lady said to me, how is it that you can speak Mandarin? And then for no reason at all, I said, I have family in Chengdu. I don't know why. I didn't explain it. I didn't get into any depth about it. All I said was, I have family in Chengdu. And so the lady said, oh. And then because I said I had family in Chengdu, she could see the Chinese in my face. And maybe you guys can too, even though it's not actually there as far as I know. But anyway, she said, oh, yeah, okay, I see that. She gave me whatever deal that I thought was cool. And then that was it. She said, I gave you a deal because you're Chinese too. And I laughed and I walked off and I said, why did I lie? And I was like, I don't know why I do that. Why I would do that because I don't usually just make up junk for no reason. So I was sitting there thinking about it and I said, it just felt so natural to say. And so I just said it and I didn't think anything of it. So I was like, oh, well, whatever. And then I just figured I'd move on. A couple days later, I am back in the United States. And the next day, I actually have to get on a plane to go meet my family in Aruba because they went there while I was in China. And so I was tired. After being on the plane for I don't know how many hours and everything like that, I was very tired. And honestly, I wasn't ready to go. Even though I wanted to see them, I was just too tired. But we already had the plane tickets booked, and my brother-in-law was going to take me to the airport, so that's just how it was going to play itself out. So it seemed. So before we actually go to the airport, I'm just sitting in the recliner at my in-laws' house trying to get a few hours of sleep. And I say to myself, out of nowhere, I'm in first class. And I've only been in first class once in my life. And I was younger and my dad hooked me up, even though he made me pay him back later. But at any rate, I only had first class once in my life. And so I didn't even really remember that much about it. But at any rate, the feeling came over me that I wanted to fly first class to Aruba, even though my ticket was coach, and not even the good coach seats, because now they charge you for like aisles and windows. So anyway, but I can't complain, right? I was going to Aruba. So anyway, side note. So anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm feeling that feeling. He takes me to the airport. I get to the airport, go through the gate, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm standing in the line waiting to get on my first flight, which was going to take me to New Jersey. And somebody taps me on my shoulder. And it's some Chinese people. And then I say, I just look around and say, yeah. And then they say, they ask me in Mandarin, had they called their number yet, their group number? So then I, after being in China for the past couple weeks, just automatically said back to them in Mandarin, no, they haven't called it yet. You're in group 5. So they were shocked that I was speaking Mandarin. And I usually, when I'm in America, even though I studied Mandarin a while back, I don't feel comfortable just saying it. So usually I'll try to say English first or something like that if I'm ever in that type of situation. And then I'll just reluctantly start trying to break out my broken Mandarin. But I had a little bit of practice from being in China, so it just came out naturally. So they were shocked and they said, wow, how'd you learn Mandarin? And I was like, oh, I just speak Mandarin, yeah. And then didn't really have a chance to get into it. So a few minutes later, we're on the plane, and this lady is trying to tell them that they can't put their luggage in a certain position. And so the lady's talking loud because that's the universal way of translating everything. And she said, you can't put your bags here. So I end up yelling across and I say, hey, if you want me to translate for you, I will. They said, thank you. Where are you sitting? So I look at my ticket and I look at where they're standing and I see the row they're getting on and I go, I'm sitting next to you. And then they were like, huh, that's strange. I was like, chi guai, which is a strange word for strange in Mandarin. They go, hun chi guai, right? And I'm like, yeah, that is strange. Anyway, I sit next to them. We start talking and everything. And at some point in the conversation, they say to me, have you ever been to Chengdu? And then I go, no, but that's funny that you would actually bring Chengdu up. But I didn't tell them about my little lie or anything. I just said, well, that's funny you bring it up. So anyway, they start talking to me about Chengdu and different things like that. And they tell me I should come check it out. And she gives me her phone number, the husband, and tells me, you know, if you ever come to Chengdu, or matter of fact, she said, when you come to Chengdu, give us a call. And I said, oh, okay. And then she said to me, would you feel comfortable calling me aunt and calling my husband uncle? And then you can, when you call, you can just say hi aunt or hi uncle. And I was like, what? And then I thought and said, actually, no, I'd actually feel very comfortable calling you aunt and uncle. And then like that, I had family in Chengdu. And like that, my lie that I told somehow became the truth. I don't know what to say about that. So then, that doesn't even end the story. So we get off the plane, right? And I'm thinking, I should help them get to their gate. But then selfishness kicked in because I wanted to just hurry up and get on my flight because I was tired. So I just went to my gate. I told them, pointed them which way they should go, and then I just didn't try to help them. But while I was waiting in line at my gate, I started feeling kind of, I won't say guilty, but I felt like I should have walked them to their gate for some reason or the other that I didn't know. And so I got out, ran very far, and I'm out of shape, so I was out of breath, wishing somebody would pick me up in one of those little carts. But I got to the other side, saw them there and said, Auntie, Uncle, just wanted to make sure you got on your plane and got to your gate. But to which some other Chinese people who were, because their flight was going to China, they all looked probably like, what? Auntie, Uncle, that guy? But anyway, that's beside the point. I said, okay, whew. Was happy that they made it, started running back to my gate. When I got back to my gate, they were pretty much, had already started boarding, and there was a lady kind of bothered at the gate. I could tell she was going back and forth with the lady at the checkout, at the counter. And turned out that they were overbooked and they didn't have a seat for her. So she was pretty bugged out about it. And then they said, well, we're going to make one more final announcement. If anyone's willing to give up their seat, we will give them $1,000 voucher. And I was like, oh, snap. So I called my wife, asked her about it. We agreed that I should take the $1,000 voucher. So I took the $1,000 voucher. They gave me a hotel room for the night, 3 meals, and get this, first class. I was in first class. And so the story goes, I found myself in first class, chilling, went to the first class lounge, pretended like I was somebody who could afford that seat, and ate some good food and got to watch free movies and everything like that. And I was grateful. I felt like I had the grace upon me, man. And I can't explain it. I couldn't have created it. I wasn't thinking anything when I said that I had family in Chengdu, nor was I thinking anything about how I was going to be able to get first class when I said I'm in first class. I just said I have family in Chengdu. I am in first class. And now I have family in Chengdu, and I did ride in first class. I don't know what to say about that. I just know that stuff like that happens every once in a while. I wish I could stay in it. Maybe there's a way to stay in it. I haven't figured that part out yet. But I figure I tell you guys that little story. And I think I'm going to start telling you some more stories of things like that that happened right when I needed it, because that's when it came. Because I was tired as I don't know what, and I was not ready to get on another plane. And that's when the grace came in, when I was like so exhausted. And maybe it can come in other times. I need to work on that part. But I can tell you that there have been plenty of times in my life where I thought I was at the end of my rope, or I thought that I was completely exhausted and I had no more resources. And then I call it God. Anyway, that's the story. Hope you get something out of it. Double peace.